All right. Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, good day, wherever you are in the world, whatever you are up to. Coffee cheers. Mary, do you have your tea?
I have my tea, yes.
Welcome to this week's edition of Coffee Chat. And we're still on the topic of, hey, body, what else is possible? And the lady, the most magical lady that I would like to introduce to you this week is Mary Case. She's maybe on this side of me or this side of me, depends on how you're looking. Hey, Mom, good morning. And why I wanted to bring Mary Case on board is she has been doing amazing things with her body, and she has been a huge inspiration for me to know that you can outcreate the definitions, the judgments, and the conclusions of aging, and what you can start to do with your body like in the future. And what if just because you are older, it doesn't mean you can't do things. You can, and you can create, physical achievements with your body no matter how old you are. And Mary has shown me that. And so I would like her to tell us all about it. Hello, Loretta. Hi, Linda. Anyway, Mary, tell us how old you are and what you are up to these days in terms of how you're playing with your body.
I'm an old lady, 63.
Yes, Mary is 63, you guys.
Hi, Loretta. Hi, Linda. Yeah, only Catherine thinks I'm old, right? Old is a relative term, right? It's like, I don't think I'm old. It's like, and then every once in a while, like, people look at me and I'm going, oh, maybe they think like, wow, what an amazing old lady.
Right? What an amazing old lady.
Yeah, it's really I find it quite amusing because for me, like age, it kind of doesn't exist. It's like not relevant. And I train in my sport with all ages. So
So what's your sport?
my
Maybe you said
sport
this.
is triathlon, which is swimming and biking and running all put together in a package.
Like not
And
just one, she does all three.
three, and then the strength training to support that. So that's my life. And you combine those together in your weekly training. So every week I have a coach, and every week I would be doing probably 3 swims a week, usually around 2 kilometers each swim, an hour or so in the water, indoors right now, of course, because I live in Ontario. And then I would be on a bike. So this winter, I've been on something called Zwift, which is a computerized bike program where you lock your bike into a trainer, and then there's a program that goes on the screen. It's sort of like a really cool interactive video game, but it's for training.
That's awesome.
So I've worked up to 3 hours on the bike. Was my last
God, Mary.
session was 3 hours, yes. And it's very cool because it's like a big playground. In that case, they simulated like a climbing in the Alps. So they are able to adjust, meaning the program, adjusts the tension, and you feel like you're climbing your bike in the Alps. So I do that, and then running on the treadmill.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I have different targets. Next week, I am going off to a training camp. Training camp basically means that you eat, sleep, and drink your sport, and spend a lot of hours in all the different activities with high-level coaches. So I'm super excited about that.
Yeah, that's really, really awesome.
Yeah.
And are you planning a competition this summer?
I have a couple in my mind. I haven't committed to a particular competition. I'm going to have a clear idea when I return from training camp what direction I'd like to go into, because there's so many options. I can do triathlons. I can do things called Grand Fondos, where you do a bike dedicated event. I can do swim competitions. There's a whole bunch of different options available to me.
Cool. So you said that you are training with people of all ages. So what are the age ranges like when you're how many are there other people your age, or there's probably a few? Anyway, tell me about that.
You know what? There's a surprising number of people my age and older in this sport.
Cool.
Yeah, I would be what's called an age grouper.
Mhm.
So when I go to a race, they would have a place where you rack your bikes, where your bike is stored for the whole race, unless you're on it. And they're by category. So they would have like 50 to 55, 55 to 60. And then the competition would be for your age group. So there would be awards for, let's say, 60 to 65 or 60 to 70 age group. And it would
Mhm.
be starting right from the youth, usually in 5-year or 10-year categories. And I'm always close to last. I'm totally okay with that.
I love
Um, there are some phenomenal athletes in there, and I'm just have so much gratitude for my body and that it lets me do this sport
wow. Yeah.
and the strength and power of this sport. And I talk a lot to the body, like when something's not working. Let's say I have like something with my knees or a hip or an ankle, which in this reality they would say, "Oh, you're aging. There's degeneration, all of this." And my point of view is like, I don't think so. Like, I'm not going there.
Yeah, you don't buy in, like, you don't start believing, "Oh my god, I'm too old to keep doing this." You go to like, "Okay, body, can we change this?" And, you go to questions with your body.
Yeah.
"How can we change this?"
Yeah, totally. And I do have a beautiful team that supports me with that. So instead of buying into the point of view that my body is degenerating, it's like who can support the vitality of my body, and working with an osteopath as an example, physiotherapist, osteopath, naturopath allows me to support the body in a really dynamic way. I had a little thing going on with my foot, went to the osteopath. He says, "Oh yeah, you're just a little tight here from your 3 hours of bike riding." So it wasn't like a degenerative pattern, or it wasn't the common thing that athletes get, like plantar fasciitis. It was like, "Yeah, your foot's a little tight here, let's do some work on it." And then it was like, "Oh, okay, that's cool."
Hmm. So what is an osteopath? I always think of bones for some reason when I think of osteopath. What does he do? How does he support you?
Well, an
Or she?
osteopath looks at the whole body, like it's
Okay.
a whole body picture. So you're looking at bones and tissues and fascia, and there would be a better explanation than I'm giving, but it is a whole body picture. So if I'm having a problem with my foot, it may be that's actually what's required is an adjustment in the hip.
Mhm. Yeah.
So the body is fascinating, how it works and how it's all connected. So it's rarely actually a problem where the source of what you've decided the problem
Right.
is. Yeah. So if there's something on your hips, then it can come from your shoulder. I did a lot of swimming, and the shoulder is tense and it's pulling on the fascia in the hips, which is pulling the hips out of alignment. So we
Mhm.
address this and then it changes this. That's how bodies are.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, like the lady that I had talked to it before near us, so she's like a physiotherapist. Oh, yeah, Tanya's got a good osteo in Middle Lake. Awesome, and hello, Tanya.
Hi, Tanya.
And we just kind of started seeing her, like Trace, my son saw her, and Travis, and he saw her for his right shoulder. But she was assessing and she did her thing and all the questions. And she gets his body on the table and she's like, "I think your right shoulder is coming from your left foot. Like, I think it's," and so she started doing stuff. So anyway, he has noticed some change. And he's gonna have more appointments. But yeah, okay, so that's what that is. That makes sense then.
Yeah. Yeah, bodies are like they are a work of art. And people say, like, how do you do it? And I think how I'm able to do it is the fascination with the human body, the fascination with what I'm capable of, the fascination with how this body works, and then like total kindness and awareness.
Yeah.
I am aware that I require more rest maybe than did when I was 20 years old, for regeneration of tissues and all of that. It's like, I'm okay like that. I'm retired from my career as a school teacher, and I like my afternoon naps.
Yeah.
They're very generative. So it's also a willingness to be really intimate with what your body requires when it requires, whatever that is.
Yeah. How old were you when you started? Like, what tweaked your attention to triathletes? And, yeah, how old were you when you started?
You know what? I did nothing until I was in this midlife crisis before
Mhm.
access consciousness. And in this midlife crisis, I was turning 40. And I had always dreamed of doing a 10K. Like this was the thing. I wanted to do this 10K before I turned 40. So at 39, I said, okay, well, like, how am I going to do this? So I got a coach at the time, and we literally started. I would walk for 4 minutes and run for 1 minute.
Mhm.
And it took a year to work up to being able to do that 10K
Wow.
run.
Yeah.
And so that was like 20, 23 years ago that I started that training.
Wow.
And I swam as a kid, but I didn't really know how to swim properly. So I took swimming lessons with a really great coach
When you
when
were 40, in your
I
40s?
was in my 40s, because I
Yeah.
decided triathlon would be a cool idea. And I've always liked to ride my bike, but I didn't really know how to do distance on a bike. So
Yeah.
yeah, it all started at age 40.
Cool. It's
Yeah.
never too late, right? Because sometimes people think and I'm 40 now too, and I also am just like starting new things. But looking back, I had the point of view when I was younger, like and when I was in my 20s, that your life is over when it's 40 and you're gonna be retiring soon. And it's like, no, like it's always just beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of meeting yourself with wherever you're at every day. Like, where are you at today? And
Yeah.
not making any number significant. When someone says something about aging, I said, no, 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 that doesn't work for me. Interesting point of view. You have that point of view. That's not my point of view.
Yeah.
Yeah. And knowing that we're aware of other bodies, I know, Catherine, you've talked about this a lot on Coffee Chat.
Mhm.
You're going to be aware of other people's bodies and their points of view, and it's really easy to take them on.
Yeah. And that's where Mary's also a certified facilitator with Access Consciousness. As one of the things she does many things, but those tools, like how do you use those tools to work with your body greater?
Yeah. Yeah, the tools, like
Questions.
in the last 10 years, having the tools of access consciousness available to me
Yeah.
are amazing. I mean, that big one of, is this mine? Who does it belong to? So you have a little bit of performance anxiety, like you're worried about a race, or you get to the race. It's like you are in everybody else's world. So you're tapping into them being anxious or stressed. So it's just like, well, is that mine? Return it to sender. It's not mine. I'm good to go. I'm prepared. I'm pumped. I'm good. Or I go to the YMCA, and there's an area called Membership Plus where I go into the Women's Membership Plus, as they have a lovely sauna, hot tub, and all of those yummy things. And there's women there who have had or in the process of having hip replacements, knee replacements, and it's a big topic of conversation.
Yeah.
So there have been times when I've gone in for my lovely little workout, and the ladies are there and they're chatting bodies from
Mhm.
their points of view. And the next day, or I'm hobbling out of Membership Plus, and all of a sudden, like, my hip is sore. It was like fine when I went in there. And that's my body's capacity to perceive their bodies.
Yes.
So it sounds crazy. And we have that capacity. So I ask a lot, like, if something shows up, is that actually mine?
Mhm. Yeah. Our body, like, what are you showing me? Yeah. Is this
Yeah.
ours or yeah. Good morning, Karen.
Yeah. And that's like one of the greatest tools from access consciousness that I've picked up. And then just asking, like, I'm out on the bike, and I'm just like, hey, body, like, what are you capable of today that I haven't acknowledged?
Mhm. Yeah. Those questions are so key to out creating everything, is just that question. Because any question, it just starts to generate possibilities, and that's where the magic can come from.
Yeah.
And creating all the projections, because there's a lot of projections that people believe, have been told that, you're too old for this, or, when you're 65, you're going to get a hip replacement, and, and one thing for myself, like one of my targets in life is to just live life to the fullest degree that I can, right to the day that my body dies or whatever that is. Like I um I just want to experience all of the things and, work with my body. So that's why I'm exploring this topic of, hey, body, what else is possible with all the
Yeah.
people that inspire me to know that something else is possible with bodies.
So great. So great.
Yeah.
And kindness to your body. Like, it's okay. Like, if it's showing up in a certain way, it's okay. We all are in a different space at a different time, and creating in a different way. And, some of us with repetitive strains and, all of that, or sitting long, long hours in the hub of a tractor or whatever it might be. Bodies are all different. So it's like kindness to bodies and not judging. Doesn't mean you have to run out and do a triathlon or a marathon or anything like that. Could be like walk into the grocery store with ease.
Yes. And I really noticed too, like, not forcing. Like, I used to go to so much force and effort to push my body to do things. Very, like, looking back, I can now get a sense of how much force and effort I was with my body. To whereas now, like, with these tools of access consciousness and just asking questions and learning how to be in communion with my body, um, it's so much more ease. I have so much more caring for my body, where I can recognize, like, I can recognize where it's time to, push a little bit more, and then where that push goes into too much. Um and even last night I was doing a Pilates, replay workout, and the whole thing was 53 minutes, which, I can do it. I've done it. But after a half an hour, my body was like, okay, Catherine, that's good. And I'm like, yeah, that's probably good for tonight. Like, we had a full day already. Yeah, okay, let's quit now. Whereas before I would have been like, no, we're doing the whole thing. And that would create a lot of pain in my body. Um, yeah, like learning the language of energy and awareness and trusting your knowing and exploring is so cool. And I'm so grateful for you, Mary, because you have facilitated me a lot with my body, whether it was taking a 3-day body process class or even just being around you and your body has facilitated me being a different energy with my body. And these tools and bars and all of the things. And so that is another reason of my why, that I am facilitating this, that I'm having these conversations. And yes, there are so many different modalities that can contribute, like we talked about, the osteopath and and other people. And it's discovering what works for you and your body, because every body is different. So yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you so much, Mary, for jumping on with me today
Oh, a
and chatting.
pleasure.
If anybody wants to reach out to Mary after and maybe connect with her, see what she's got going on. What do you have going on? You have some stuff coming up. Why don't you tell us?
Well, I kept the calendar pretty clear the next little bit because I am going off to training camp. So we're kind of reforming and recreating. But you can find me at Mary Case Energetics and see what I'm up to.
She's coming to Saskatchewan again for a 3-day body
Yeah, I'm very excited.
End of April.
Yes.
So,
actually, I should mention too that I do have X-Men online classes happening. So there's an introduction called X-Men and Relationships, and there is the 2-day class online coming up in March. And all of this conversation we're having is also very much an X-Men conversation. X-Men meaning ADD, ADHD, OCD, autism spectrum. Like, it all comes into this body conversation and this like crazy hours that I spend on the bike. I mean, that's OCD in all its glory, right? An obsession with numbers, with beats, with rhythms, with cadences. I mean, it's all in the sport.
yeah. Yes, we should actually. Okay, so in the future, we're going to schedule another coffee chat where we're going to talk about X-Men and bodies.
Let's do it. Yes.
Yes. And how to be with your body. Yeah. Okay, Linda said, I agree. Mary is a fantastic role model and has helped me discover more about me. Yeah, totally.
Cool. Awesome. Well, a pleasure. Yes, we will do another coffee chat about X-Men and bodies because, I could talk bodies all day long.
I know. All right. Thank you guys so much. Have a amazing rest of your day, and I'll see you later.
Bye.